Hello, and welcome back to the Sukoon Project. I'm your host, Varun Kapur. Today is a special episode, not just because it is another episode in the series, but because it marks the conclusion of our first season. Over the past 5 episodes, we have walked through the remarkable journey of Sushant Singh Rajput. We explored the dreamer, the outsider, the learner, the curious mind, the human being behind the fame. And today, we bring everything together. Today is not about remembering how Sushant left. Today is about remembering how he lived. Because the true measure of a life is not how it ends, it is how it inspires others to live. Before we begin, I want to sincerely thank every listener who joined me on this journey. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for believing in what the Sukoon Project stands for. A special thank you to those who messaged me saying these episodes motivated them to dream again, reconnect with loved ones, start learning again, or simply take a pause and reflect. That is exactly why this podcast exists. And if these episodes have inspired you, I encourage you to share them with someone who may need them, because inspiration multiplies when it is shared. Today's episode is called The Legacy of a Dreamer. When most people hear the word legacy, they think of achievements, awards, money, fame, titles, recognition. But I believe legacy is something much deeper. Legacy is what remains when the noise disappears. It is the impact you leave behind, the lives you touch, the hearts you inspire, the conversations people continue to have about you long after you are gone. And when we talk about Sushant Singh Rajput today, years after his passing, we are not merely discussing an actor. We are discussing an idea. The idea that dreams matter. The idea that curiosity matters. The idea that where you begin does not determine where you can go. That is legacy. In episode 1, we talked about the dreamer, a young boy from Patna who dared to imagine a life bigger than his circumstances. A boy who had no roadmap, no shortcuts, no guarantees, only belief. His journey reminds us that dreams are not reserved for the privileged. Dreams belong to everyone. To the student sitting in a classroom, to the engineer working late nights, to the entrepreneur struggling to build something meaningful, to the parent sacrificing for their family, to every person who has ever wondered, can I really do this? Sushant's life answered that question. Yes, you can. In episode 3, we spoke about the outsider, someone who entered an industry where many believed he didn't belong. But instead of asking for permission, he earned his place. That lesson is timeless because every generation has people who are told, you're not connected enough, you're not experienced enough, you're not qualified enough, you're not from the right background, you're not one of us. Sushant's story teaches us something powerful. You don't need approval to pursue your purpose. You only need courage. In episode 4, we explored perhaps the most fascinating part of his personality, his curiosity, his hunger for knowledge, his endless desire to learn. This may be the lesson that resonates with me the most, because in a world obsessed with knowing everything, Sushant remained fascinated by learning. He reminded us that education doesn't end with a degree. Learning is a lifelong journey. The moment we stop learning, we stop growing. And growth is what keeps us alive inside. In episode 5, we stepped away from the spotlight. We talked about humility, kindness, authenticity, empathy, the qualities that rarely make headlines but define character. At the end of the day, people may forget what you accomplished, but they will remember how you made them feel. They will remember your kindness, your generosity, your presence. That is the kind of legacy worth building. As I reflected on this season, I kept asking myself, what is the single biggest lesson Sushant's life leaves behind? And I think it comes down to this: live fully, dream boldly, learn constantly, stay curious, stay humble, stay kind, take risks, ask questions, pursue what excites you, and never stop becoming, because life was never meant to be lived on autopilot. Life is meant to be experienced, explored, celebrated, and that is exactly how Sushant seemed to approach it. One of the most important realizations I've had is that legacy is not something built at the end of the life. It is built every single day. Every conversation, every decision, every act of kindness, every risk, every dream, every lesson shared, every person helped. We are building our legacy right now, not tomorrow, not someday, today. The question is, what kind of legacy are we creating? To everyone listening today, I want you to know something. You do not need millions of followers to make a difference. You do not need fame. You do not need wealth. You do not need a perfect life. You simply need the courage to be fully yourself, the courage to dream, the courage to keep learning, the courage to keep going, the courage to spread kindness, and the courage to leave every person a little better than you found them. That is how extraordinary lives are built, one day at a time. When I first decided to make an entire season around Sushant Singh Rajput, some people asked me, why? Why dedicate 6 episodes to one individual? The answer is simple: because his story was never just about him. It was about possibility. It was about resilience. It was about curiosity. It was about humanity. And those lessons transcend any one person. They belong to all of us. As we bring season 1 of the Sukoon Project to a close, I want to leave you with this final message. Dream fearlessly. Learn endlessly. Love deeply. Live authentically. And leave the world better than you found it. That perhaps is the greatest tribute we can pay to any dreamer, including Sushant Singh Rajput. Thank you for being part of this journey. Thank you for your messages, encouragement, and support. Thank you for helping the Sukoon Project grow. And thank you for believing in the power of stories. If this season touched your heart, please share it with your friends, family, colleagues, students, and anyone who may benefit from these conversations. And don't forget to follow and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Because season 2 is already on the horizon, and we may have many more inspiring stories to tell. I'm your host, Varun Kapur. This has been the Sukoon Project, Season 1, Sushant Singh Rajput. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep learning, keep inspiring, and keep finding your Sukoon.